One of the things I think that's real important to make people in this area aware of is really how the Cape Fear River and the water supply that it delivers to the city of Fayetteville, how it really kind of all got started. A good place to begin is 1945. There was a very serious flood occurred in 1945, and local governmental leaders and others in the community felt that there was a need to put in a reservoir and dam somewhere to control flooding, and that was essentially the birth of the idea of Jordan Lake. And when Jordan Lake was envisioned, it was envisioned as not only being a dam and reservoir that would provide flood control downriver, but that it also would be used for recreation and water supply, and also to supply water to the Cape Fear River during dry periods. That dam is operated by the Corps of Engineers, and they've got guidelines that they have to follow. There is water in Jordan Lake that's available for water supply in the Research Triangle area, and there's some of that taking place, but there's also a certain amount of water in Jordan Lake that is reserved to keep our flows downstream adequate for water supply and recreation and boating and so forth. And the Corps determines how much is to be released and has various gauging stations on streams, and they keep up with how much flows there are available in the river. And they try to meet a flow limit, a flow target at Lillington, which becomes very important during drought conditions like we're currently in, because if it were not for the releases from Jordan Lake, the Cape Fear River, as you see it today, would be quite a bit lower than it actually is. If anybody asked me what was one of the 5 best things that ever happened to Fayetteville, it was when Jordan Lake was built, because number one, it's reduced. I don't believe there's been any serious flooding in Fayetteville as a result of the Cape Fear River since that dam was built. And as far as the droughts that have occurred over the last 20, 25 years, Fayetteville has had to implement some, water shortage, mandatory conservation type measures, but for the most part, it serves the purpose of keeping the flow steady during the drought conditions. So in a lot of ways, Jordan Lake is kind of like our reservoir, and we've benefited quite a bit from that. There's plenty of water available for PWC for the short term and also for the long term as far as water supply needs go. We, on the yearly average, probably run about 25 million gallons a day for a yearly average. But during the summertime, when, especially like with recent droughts that we've had, those flows can jump up to 33, 34, 38 million gallons a day. So we're the biggest user immediately downstream from the lake. We also put water back in the river from our wastewater treatment plants. So on any given day, we may be putting as much water back in the river from our wastewater treatment facilities as we're actually taking out. Now during the summertime, it's a little out of balance because of irrigation water that doesn't actually make it back to the sewer system. If you look at how much of an effect we're having, it's not a 33 million gallon a day effect. It's more like maybe 4 or 5 million gallons a day that's actually lost and doesn't come back into the river. One of the other things that's real important to keep in mind with the Cape Fear River and how it affects Fayetteville does have to do with the locking dams that are in place. Locking Dam 3, which is the one that's closest to Fayetteville, actually backs up water to Fayetteville and several miles beyond Fayetteville because it's so flat around here. Now a dam 10, 15 feet high in a flat area will back up water a great distance. So Locking Dam 3 does help to keep our intake submerged during low flow. So we've got the benefit of essentially a run of river dam, if you would, because of what's happening with Locking Dam number 3. And then we also have Jordan Lake, which supplies flows during the summertime to keep the river at a reasonable level. I guess one of the issues that really, in my opinion, showed just how much Fayetteville and Cumberland County can accomplish when they all pull together was what went on during the Cary Apex interbasin transfer issue that started about 2000, 2001 was about the time period that all took place. And there was a very concerted, unified effort to make sure that the folks with state government understood that we didn't have any problem with Cary, Apex, etc. using the water. We wanted to make sure they returned it, that we didn't at some point down the future run into problems from interbasin transfer, because the water would be leaving the Cape Fear River Basin and being discharged into the Neuse River Basin. The state government, the Environmental Management Commission got the message, and as a matter of fact, with the Cary Apex IBT, that is the first one where a certificate was issued with a requirement that they return water as a condition of getting water. According to the certificate, they're supposed to have the treatment plant operational by the end of 2010. And they are honoring their word and what's required in the certificate to get that water back. So we are monitoring that. You know, the Cape Fear River Basin is the largest river basin in the state of North Carolina, and is either, if it's not the most heavily populated, it's the second most heavily populated. So there's a lot of demands on the water resources in the Cape Fear River, and so what happens upstream of us and what happens downstream of us may seem like it's distant and unrelated, but a lot of times it does directly affect us because we're all in the same watershed. But just as another example of that is the questions that have been raised about the locks and dams and whether or not they need to be maintained or removed. And certainly, given the importance of Lock and Dam 3 and its effect on our water supply and our water intake and so forth, we became involved very early on in the stakeholder meetings to provide input, make sure they understood what our concerns were. And the Corps of Engineers that's running this study will be starting to make some of their final decisions on this in the next, couple of 3 months. Well, one of the strategic responsibilities that Public Works Commission has for not only Fayetteville but Cumberland County is to do what we need to do to try to assure a long-term, adequate, reliable water supply. As our state gets bigger and bigger, there's going to be more demands put on the river. And so strategically speaking, we have to be looking not only what we need to do in the next 5 or 10 years, but also 20, 30, 50 years down the road, because when an area runs out of water, the area will not be able to continue to grow and develop and quality of life and that kind of thing. So that's why it's so important for us to continue our work on drought management plans. We're also involved with an initiative that we're going to be starting this fall, having to do with some better long-term planning for water demands on the Cape Fear River. Wilmington's getting bigger, the coast is getting bigger, they're dependent on the Cape Fear River for water. Our area with BRAC and other development that we have going on as a regional center that we have here in the southeast, we're going to need additional water as time goes on. People upstream are going to need more water, and then everybody in between. So it is real important to us to make sure that we keep an eye on the river and try to make sure if somebody has a proposal that looks like it may cause a problem with future water supply, that we identify it early and then roll up our sleeves and try to come up with an alternative or options for making sure that everybody gets their fair share.
PWC has around 180,000 customers. We serve Spring Lake and Eastover, Hoke County, Fort Bragg on occasions, and also Stedman. We have 2 water treatment facilities. The Glenville Lake facility, located on Filter Plant Drive, right across from Fayetteville State University. And we have a maximum daily capacity of 18 million gallons per day here at Glenville. The P.O. Hoffer facility is located on the Cape Fear River, just south of Clark Park, and that facility has a maximum capacity of 40 million gallons per day. PWC uses a conventional water treatment process here. That is, we bring water in out of the river, we add chemicals to it, we get the sediment to come out of the water, we filter and disinfect. As a matter of fact, disinfection in March of 2003, we changed our process from one of just adding chlorine to adding a combination of chlorine and ammonia, which is called chloramination. And that's actually one of the contributing factors to us winning the best tasting water. Because anytime you have chloraminated water, you don't have that chlorine smell. However, and having said that, I will say that in March each year, we're required by the state to stop the addition of ammonia for a 30-day period. And that's called a system burnout. Well, during that period, our customers may notice a strong, moderate to strong smell of chlorine. Chloramination is a very safe way to disinfect water. It's been around since 1916, and many utilities use it across the country. In our area, it's used by utilities such as Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill, Carrboro. We've used it since, as I said, December of 2003. Just fine for every use: bathing, cooking, cleaning. There are some customers that need to be particularly aware that we do add ammonia to our water, and those are the customers that have kidney dialysis machines, especially the ones that have dialysis units at home. Now, the dialysis centers across the city are set up to remove ammonia, but if you do home dialysis, you should consult your doctor to make sure your unit will remove that excess ammonia. Other folks that need to be careful are those that have aquatic animals, fish, etc. There's just some different products you can buy to put in your aquariums to remove that ammonia from the water. And in March, when we stop adding ammonia, the customer should not do anything different. We run about 150,000 tests per year, roughly. We do things as simple as pH, disinfectant residuals, fluoride, zinc, hardness, carbon dioxide. We also run more extensive tests on things such as bacteria, protozoa, and viruses. We have a host of analytical equipment that is in line with our process. It's a continuous monitoring. We do some tests once per day. Some stuff is done once per week. There are different parameters that the EPA requires you to measure for once a year, for instance. So we're pretty busy, and there's just a host of things to get done each day. A customer can find out about our annual testing results through our annual water quality report, and this is mailed out to customers in late spring, and it's also available on our website at www.faypwc.com. The water quality report was a result of the Consumer Confidence Report rule, and that rule gave everyone in the country the ability to see how their utility stacks up against regulations that EPA sets forth. It's a wonderful tool. It not only tells you everything we've tested for, but what we found and how that compares to the limits set forth by EPA. Well, the Partnership for Safe Drinking Water is an organization made up of U.S. EPA, the American Water Works Association, and utilities such as PWC. We've been a member since 2000, and the whole goal of the partnership is to help utilities produce the highest drinking water quality possible with the minimum amount of capital investments. And with that low amount of capital investments, you're able to hopefully prolong rate increases to your customer. We've been really successful in the partnership, and we received the Director's Award in 2000 for work we had done. The partnership parameters and the requirements of the partnership are much more strict than the US EPA, and we have maintained that level in the partnership since 2000, and we're very proud of that. And we were the first utility in the state of North Carolina to do so. PWC recently received 2 awards that we're really proud of. One is the Walter J. Corman Award through the American Water Works Association for excellence in safety. And we do have a focus on safety that we're very proud of, and we do a lot of training in that, so we're very proud of that award. Another award we just received was Best Tasting Water in the state of North Carolina. We're very proud of our award for Best Tasting Water because we have so much pride in these plants. We have a staff of operators who are really experienced, and they really care about producing a high quality product. We've got a maintenance staff that keeps everything running in tip-top shape, and we're just really proud of that. Our goal here at PWC is to provide the safest product available to our customers throughout the city and the surrounding areas. And just like to let you know, if you ever have any questions or comments, just to please let us know. We'd be glad to have them.
Wastewater treatment is basically a water recycling process. We take dirty water and send it through various processes that provides clean, safe water that's returned back to the Cape Fear River for customers downstream of us to utilize. Wastewater that's generated by residential establishments, commercial industries, all that wastewater is collected through a series of pipes and pump stations and is pumped or flows by gravity to the wastewater treatment facility. The wastewater goes through several processes. The first process it goes through is a preliminary treatment, which is a pump station that takes the water, sends it through a screening device to remove large debris. Then it goes through a grit removal process, which is removing sand that may have entered the collection system as that wastewater was conveyed to us. From there, it goes through a biological process called secondary treatment. We're utilizing bacteria, providing them a good environment. We provide air and a mixing system for the bacteria to break down the wastewater, the organic pollutants that are found in that water. From there, the pollutants are settled out along with the bacteria. The water then goes through a filtration system, which is a sand filter that removes any other organic or pollutants that may still remain in the water. Then the water is chlorinated, dechlorinated, and returned back to the Cape Fear River. The sludges or solids that are generated through the wastewater treatment process are sent to an aerobic digester. This is where the solids are digested. We're trying to reduce the pathogens that are found in these solids. And once they're stabilized, we refer to them as biosolids. These biosolids are then land applied on agricultural farms throughout Cumberland County and surrounding counties. This product is used as a soil amendment or as a fertilizer to grow various crops that are grown in this area. PWC's treatment facilities can treat up to 41 million gallons of wastewater a day. The Cross Creek facility is rated at 25 million gallons a day versus the Rockfish facility, which recently was expanded from 16 million gallons a day to 21 million gallons a day. The expansion at Rockfish consisted of a totally new influent pump station to handle 50 million gallons of wastewater a day. We also modified our aeration basins. We also added a new chlorine contact chamber to increase our disinfection time for any pathogens that may remain in the wastewater before it's returned to the Cape Fear River. In our aerobic digestion process of the biosolids, we added some additional aeration tankage to further expand our treatment capabilities. The expansion at the Rockfish facility occurred due to the amount of growth that we are seeing in the Rockfish collection system. This takes in wastewater from the western part of Cumberland County, Hope County, and even some areas east of the Cape Fear River. During this expansion, both facilities had standby generation installed. This provides us a backup electrical source in case of power failures. This adds protection to the Cape Fear River. We're now able to, during a power failure, operate these generators to provide us electricity to run our equipment to make sure that wastewater is properly treated. Wastewater treatment is a process that is continuous. We have certified staff on site 24 hours a day, 365 days in the year that are experts in biology, chemistry, maintenance. These are jack-of-all-trade operators that need to know a little bit about all the processes and how to handle any situation that might arise during the treatment of wastewater. The operators are highly certified. They're certified through the state of North Carolina. They all have their highest level of certification in wastewater treatment. Because of that and how efficiently and well operated the wastewater treatment plants are, they have both received recognition by EPA for their outstanding performance in operation. We encourage our community to come and visit our facilities to understand about wastewater treatment and to see the benefits that we provide for this community and our downstream customers. If you would like a tour of one of our facilities, please contact PWC through their website or their public information office.
The simplest definition of a watershed is an area that drains or sheds water to the lowest lying area. So for educators and students, we use the palm of the hand philosophy. So this is their watershed boundary areas. And simply if they were to pour a little bit of water on there, where does the water shed to? So it tends to consolidate in the palm of the hand. Little Cross Creek is the area that I'm primarily responsible for, and we utilize that watershed drainage area for drinking water supplies. So we want to make sure that the things that are shedding into the watershed are appropriate for that particular ecosystem. In North Carolina, we're divided into 17 river basins that shed water typically to the ocean. In our case, we live in Cumberland County within the Cape Fear River Basin, which is the largest of the 17 river basins. The PWC watershed is divided into 3 component areas, and first one is our water quality. The second piece is the land management, and then the third piece is the education. Our primary goal is to be the first line of protection. And we look at the biology of the system. What are the things that you would find in that particular watershed? So we look at aquatic insects, we look at aquatic plants, and then we also do the chemistry piece where we're actually taking a sample of the water, we're doing analysis. Some of that analysis is done in the field, others are done at the laboratory at PWC. Land management overlays water quality in some very unique ways, and one of those unique ways is prescribed burning. So although we are in water treatment and water quality, we actually controlled burn our longleaf wiregrass ecosystem to enhance water quality. So what we're doing in essence is manicuring the natural land areas by using fire as a tool. And when it rains, the water that filters through that vegetation tends to be better quality once it gets into the receiving waters, because the plants are taking up a lot of the potential bad nutrients. The other piece of land management is to actually go back and restore areas that have been degraded for a variety of different reasons. So we're going back and planting native plants back into their communities. And then one of the other positive land management activities is our endangered plants and animals, our flora and fauna. And we have an agreement with Fort Bragg also to manage for the endangered red-cockaded woodpecker. Education is another circle, and we do that in a variety of different ways. One of those tools is to educate the teachers within our community. And in our case at PWC, we would focus on water quality workshops where we're bringing teachers out into a real classroom after we do the initial educational piece in the classroom. And then they're better prepared to go back to their school environment, which is their watershed, so hence the reason the whole watershed concept, and do things on their own school grounds. We want to be good community stewards of the water environment. So traditionally, the first Saturday in October, we gather our volunteers, and again, those volunteers are coming from the community, and we provide the resources to clean up the waterways within, in this case, Cumberland County, by partnering with the North Carolina Big Sweep. And we collect that trash, that litter that eventually finds its way into receiving waters. In this case, eventually the Cape Fear River. Our success in October was really great, but we felt like we really needed to do it more than once a year. So the idea developed that we would kick off Water Awareness Week by doing an additional cleanup, which we call the Litter-Free Watershed cleanup. The Litter-Free Watershed will occur this year, May 6th from 9 until 1 at several locations within Cumberland County. And you can find that information on the website at PWC. We also have another very unique function, and that is we have our combination for the first time ever of May Day and Community Called Earth on May the 6th from 10 until 1:45 at the Botanical Garden. The May 6th event at the Gardens is the general public's opportunity to come out and interact with the community partners to make, as an example, bird feeders from 2-liter bottles, to make animal tracks from the clays within our community, to make crayons out of the community soils that we have here in Cumberland County, which are very unique. And then later, after 1:45, for those that are up to a challenge, we have the big Cross Creek Cardboard Regatta. So if you'd like to make a watercraft out of cardboard, this is your opportunity to come down and show your talents.